How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz, and in today's video we're going to be covering Larvitar Community Day Classic, and also going over how good Tyranitar actually is with Smackdown. But with that being said, as always, before we go ahead and get started, if you guys do end up enjoying this video, if you do find it helpful, please make sure to smash that like button down below. It helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So first up, Larvitar Com Day is going to be taking place on January 21st from 2 to 5 p.m. your local time. The special bonuses are going to be as follows. We're going to be having 3-hour lure modules and incense like normal. The special bonus is going to be 3 times catch experience. And then finally, we're going to be getting 5 free Larvitar from snapshots. Now, it's really important to highlight here that unlike normal Com Days where we get a 2 times chance to receive extra large candy and also 2 times catch candy, that is not the case for classic Com Days. We're definitely going to spend some time talking about Tyranitar in detail in terms of its overall meta relevance, but I'm just going to say this like up front. Make sure that you have a good game plan for this Com Day. This is going to be one of the better ones that we've actually had within the past year. With that being said though, let's take a look at the exclusive moveset Smackdown. So you're going to have between 2 to 7 p.m. your local time to evolve this to get Tyranitar with this moveset. And it's also important to note that this is going to be a fast move and not a charge move. Most Com Days feature a charge move, but Tyranitar is the exception here, getting a rock type fast move. Now this is the only rock type fast move that Tyranitar does get, and this is going to be really important for the Mega Evolution when that eventually gets released into the game. So of course, moving on, let's go ahead and talk about Tyranitar in the raid/gym meta first, and we're going to be taking a look at 3 different variations: the normal version, the shadow version, and then the Mega Evolution. So starting off with the normal version, Tyranitar used to be the king of dark and rock type Pokemon, guys. Unfortunately, it has since fallen from its throne. There are many options that are just going to be objectively better now. As a rock type attacker, you pretty much just want to run Smackdown plus Stone Edge. Once again, Smackdown being the exclusive Com Day moveset. In terms of what's actually relevant right now, the current best non-shadow, non-mega option is going to be Referral with Rock Wrecker. Also a Com Day moveset, but you should have been able to get it this past December Com Day if you were playing. Now as a dark type attacker, for Tyranitar you want to run Bite and Crunch, and the current best non-shadow, non-mega option is going to be Hydreigon with Brutal Swing, another Com Day exclusive moveset from earlier last year. So when it comes down to it, if you've been playing the game for at least the past year, you probably have better options in both of these categories. If you haven't though, this will actually be a great opportunity to build out your dark and rock type teams with budget attackers. I recommend catching as many high level Larvitar as you possibly can. For reference, level 30 is a fantastic baseline that's going to be the highest you can catch without the weather boost. Level 35 is going to be the highest you can catch with the weather boost. And then once again, for reference, level 30 is going to be 5,000 Stardust to power up, and then level 35 is going to be 8,000 Stardust to power up. And then basically from there, just evolve your highest level ones with the best IV straight into Tyranitar. You're going to need 12 in total. I mean, you could probably do like 4 of each, honestly. You don't have to go with 6 of each. But either way, if you wanted to do this, you pretty much get some great budget attackers for raid battles, and you don't have to invest any Stardust, so it's kind of a massive win. So with all that being said, that is just going to be regular Tyranitar, but now let's take a look at Shadow Tyranitar in the raid/gym meta. So when it comes down to Shadow Tyranitar, this is definitely one of the best Pokemon you can have in the game currently, given that we don't have Shadow versions of like many other options like Gigalith, Tyrantrum, Rampardos, Rhyperior. If we got Shadow options of those, that would change this a lot. But as of right now, Shadow Tyranitar is actually the best option you can have in both the rock type category, and actually not the best option in the dark type category, but the second best option, because Hydreigon is actually still better with Brutal Swing. Now, the main focus of this Com Day though is going to be the exclusive moveset Smackdown. Now normally most of the time, because the exclusive Com Day moveset is going to be a charge move, if you had frustration on your Larvitar for example, you wouldn't be able to get it. But because Smackdown is actually a fast move, this isn't going to make a difference. So if you've been holding on to some pretty good Shadow Larvitar, this is going to be a great opportunity to finally evolve it and get one of the best movesets without having to use an Elite Fast TM. Definitely do recommend it. I mean, of course, we're still going to get better options in the future when we get the Shadow variants for like Rhyperior, Rampardos, Terrakion even. But you know, as of right now, Shadow Tyranitar does rank as one of the best rock type attackers in the game, non-mega. Now before we go any further, I do just want to really quickly touch on the PvP aspect for Tyranitar. and let me just say that it is not going to be good in any league whatsoever. The only place that you could really run it would be Master League as a spice pick, but I mean, you really don't want to be using this in the Great League or the Ultra League. It is just really not fit for it. But with that being said, now let's take a look at our final aspect of Tyranitar, and that is going to be the future Mega Evolution for the Raid/Gym meta. While we don't know when this is actually going to get released into Pokemon Go, we can look ahead to see how good it's actually going to be, and if it's worth powering up a really good IV spread to level 50 if you end up getting one during this comm day. I would say anything like 96, 98 plus, ideally a hundo. So when it comes down to the rock type category, Mega Tyranitar is going to be the #1 rock type attacker in the game. So even though it's purely speculation in terms of when it's going to get released and also how far away Mega Diancie is, I'm fairly confident Mega Tyranitar is going to hold this spot for quite some time. And I would hope that it would also get released sometime this year as well. I can't really see why it wouldn't. With that being said though, I do want to also take a look at Mega Tyranitar as a dark type attacker, and unlike being the #2 option when Mega Diancie gets released, Mega Tyranitar is going to hold the best spot in the dark type category. Now there is one thing I do want to point out though, Mega Tyranitar holds this #1 spot mainly just due to its bulk. It has a much higher TDO opposed to Mega Houndoom, so when it comes down to speed, Mega Houndoom is still going to be the move, but overall Mega Tyranitar is a much better option for the Mega type evolution. Now finally, one last point I wanted to cover in this video is should you actually power up a Tyranitar to level 50? So as I was putting together the data for my top best Pokemon video for 2023, I was adding level comparisons for everything, and the most interesting aspect was actually looking at Pokemon like Tyranitar that had future Mega Evolutions and would also hold top spots in their respective typing. So theoretically, you would eventually want to max out one to level 50 for the Mega, right? But then the question stands, would it also be as relevant to get a level 50 Tyranitar now and use it in the current meta even though you couldn't actually use the Mega quite yet? Like, would it still be relevant compared to everything else? So based on the data that I was able to collect in regards to the rock typing, having a level 50 Tyranitar would be the equivalent power potential of having a level 35 Shadow Tyranitar, which currently holds a #1 spot as the best rock type attacker as I mentioned earlier outside of Mega Evolutions. So even taking into account future power creeps, this is still going to hold up as a pretty relevant rock type attacker if you already have it powered up to level 50. Like, it's not going to be the best, you can definitely get better Pokemon options out there, but it's still going to be pretty relevant for quite some time. And then you also have the Mega Evolution that will eventually get released into the future, which you can then use as the best rock type attacker in the game, as well as best dark type attacker. So I really like doing this analysis because it allows you to actually get value out of your Tyranitar now without the Mega Evolution actually even being in game. So hopefully you guys did find that useful as well, but I do have some kind of bad news, but I guess it's sort of expected if you've been paying attention. If you wanted to have Mega Tyranitar for both the rock type and dark type categories, you would actually need to build 2 because Smackdown is a fast move. Therefore you can't actually switch between them, you know, because you can have 2 charge moves, but you can't have 2 fast moves. So you're actually gonna have to build 2, which is almost 600 extra large candy that you have to get within those 3 hours. Not to mention the additional Stardust as well that you're gonna have to get to power these things up. So at least for one of them, I would highly recommend trading, or lucky trading I should say, to get a good IV spread. You know, you can lucky trade shinies as well, try to get a shiny lucky with a great IV spread, that'd be really cool to flex. So for me personally, I already have a few hundos from just over the years, so I'm definitely gonna max out one of those, but I also wanna get a shiny lucky version to max out, most likely with Smackdown. And, you know, that'll be my other level 50 Tyranitar for the rock type category. Again, it's a heavy investment, but I do see this as worth it just given what it's going to be in the future. So, you know, you guys can do this as well. Take advantage of your Tyranitar right now because we're going to have this opportunity to get a bunch of extra large candy, but you know, at the end of the day, totally up to you. If you can't make it out, you can't make it out, but if you are able to play, definitely grind this one hard. So in conclusion, while Tyranitar was kicked off its throne a few years back, it still has great potential in both the dark and rock type categories as a raid attacker. PvP, you really don't want to use it whatsoever. And then if you are newer to the game, this will be a great opportunity to build out your rock and dark type teams without really having to invest any Stardust. Just catch and evolve your highest level Larvitar with the best IVs, and boom, battle ready team, just like that. You can do like 4 with Smackdown and Stone Edge, and then the other 4 with Bite and Crunch. You don't have to go crazy hard, just enough to get at least that much would be my recommendation. And then when it comes down to the future Mega Evolution, this is going to be the #1 Dark type attacker in the game, as well as the #1 Rock type attacker in the game. Not to mention your level 50 Tyranitar now are also going to hold up against the current meta, so keep that in mind. You're definitely getting a lot of play out of these Tyranitar, which for some of you who definitely have a special place in your heart for Tyranitar, this is going to be really good news. With that being said, that's basically everything I had to go over. If you guys have any additional questions, feel free to comment them down below. But now I'd like to go through some additional tips and tricks for just general Calm Day prep. So first of all, the fast catch trick. If you guys are not using this, definitely make sure to learn how to do this before Calm Day. Seriously recommend learning how to use this to increase your catching speed tenfold. Links are going to be in the description down below. The next thing that we have is going to be to create a search tag for all the Larvitar you want to evolve. You're going to be going through 3 hours really fast if you're actually grinding this out. Make sure that you favorite your Larvitar and you mark them as you go throughout the day. You can quickly check for good IVs and hundos by typing in the 3-star and 4-star. This way, if you don't actually have that much Pokemon storage, you can make sure that you find the ones that you need, favorite them, and then move on. You can just type 4-star for the hundos, that's usually what I do. When it comes down to Tyranitar as well, you're not going to need any PvP IVs, but if you do want to know how to find PvP IVs quickly, check out the video in the top right corner or in the description down below. Now, one of the most important tips I can give you guys is going to have an active Mega Evolution in either the Rock or Ground typing at Mega Level 3. If you don't have a Mega Level 3, just prioritize whichever one's going to be the highest level between these 3 options. Mega Swampert, Mega Steelix, and Mega Aerodactyl. Following that, let's talk about storage space next. So generally, I do recommend a minimum of 100. Ideally though, 250 plus. So most of you guys can probably get down to having this much open space, but if you're still having trouble getting to that number, or just want to clear out more of your storage in general, I do have a full detailed guide in terms of how I manage my storage. I only have about 2,500 open spots, and I know some people in the game have over like 6,000, so if I can do it at 2,500 playing the game for 6 years, you guys definitely can too. Video link once again in the description down below. Let's also talk about bag space as well. I feel like people don't always put a major priority on this, but I really do recommend having at least 200 red, great, and ultra balls, and ideally 500 plus combined, with a recommended amount of Pinot Berries being between 25 and 50 just for the extra candy. I feel like if you do want to get the extra large candy, one of the better ways would be to actually just trade with somebody, because we have guaranteed extra large candy right now from trades. And then finally, let's talk about the Picnicker medal. So basically, I'm just going to recommend to drop lure modules at your most popular grind spot right when the event starts. Basically, the way that this works is that you get 1 point every single time somebody catches a Pokemon off your lure module. And in the right location, you can make some pretty good progress considering that we're going to have lure modules active for 3 hours straight. And with that being said, that's basically everything I have for you guys in this video. If you're still looking for some more additional content to watch, check out these videos right here. But before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.